I think we can all agree that Namco is one of the greatest pioneers in modern arcade gaming ever founded. Their track record for making classic games such as Pac-Man, Galaga, Pole Position, and Dig Dug are a clear sign of this. Henceforth, this is why I find it incredibly surprising that they have only a very few that are never released outside of Japan. Phozon, here, being one of them. The year is 1983. It was a time before the PlayStation ever came out with the Namco Museum games and an English port of this game. One reason that I personally come to a conclusion to when it comes to games like this never being released outside of Japan is because they tend to be far too difficult for the common player over in America. Granted, most arcade games tend to be a little challenging. That's why they are very successful at being coin guzzlers. But I digress. Anyhow, let's take a look at this. Phozon for the arcade. To begin with, the graphics in this game are pretty simple and very straightforward about the theme of chemistry. You can see all the mathematical equations, you can see the atomic themes of the game. They pretty much nail down the scientific aspects of this game to a T. Now let's see how this equates well with the gameplay. Your character is a small black object with red spikes that the game calls a chemic. Across the blueprint-like stage are these small, colorful little spheres with smaller spheres attached to them. These are called molecs, and you need to attach yourself to them. As indicated by the Japanese text at the beginning of every stage, you have to match your shape with the shape they tell you to match up with. If that was all the challenge that Namco would have given you, this would basically be like a chemistry version of Simon Says. But there always has to be that difficult enemy in the game. This is one of them. It's the only enemy in the game for a fact, but it's one of the most dangerous. This is called an atomic, and it wants you dead. So as you're moving across the blueprint stage, trying to grab all the molecs that you can in order to match yourself up with the blueprint on there, you have to dodge this thing, which is trying to constantly kill you. And all it takes to lose one life is to simply touch it once. Good lord, look at this death animation! I'm quite surprised that the arcade machine hadn't exploded in a nuclear explosion yet. And it certainly doesn't help you any that it manages to fraction itself into little spheres, making dodging even more difficult. Dodging itself is quite difficult as is, considering how slow your character is. Good god, even Gil in the first level of the Tower of Daruga could walk faster than this. And it's because of this enemy on your butt that you can constantly make mistakes in trying to get the molecs in the right position on your form. If you get a molec on your form that is not aligned properly with what was presented on the blueprint, you have to press the reject button in order to reject the molec on your form. And to top off the challenge in this game, there's a time limit, as presented by a yellow bar near the bottom of the screen. Thankfully, when you run out of time, you don't lose a life. It simply says that the form is not completed and you have to try again. And so you try again. So in some sort of sense, the game does give you some leeway to try and rethink your strategy on how to build a shape while trying not to get killed. The game is divided into several worlds, each world consisting of 4 levels, 3 basic building levels, and a challenge stage. When you successfully match up the shape that you're presenting to the instructions that are presented in the middle of the blue screen, the stage is completed. After completing the 3 building stages, you now get to go to the challenging level, where you get to shoot the living daylights out of the very thing that wanted you dead. So I consider this a bit of a stress reliever. Oh, you like some of this? Oh yeah, eat this! Eat this! Eat this, you stupid little thing! Get out there! The game gives you 3 lives, and a chance to get an extra life for 30,000 points, and another extra life for 100,000 points. But if you're not prepared like I try to be, you're probably going to be dying over and over and over again in this game. You move this way, you die. You move that way, you die. You die, 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 die! All I can really say about this is that it's both fun and frustrating at the same time. If you want to challenge yourself playing this game, go right ahead. Anyhow, this is the Crazy Bling bidding you farewell for now.